Peace, beautiful people. It's your boy Dev and DP, and we are back for another session of Real Talk with DP and Dev in the C&D Lounge. I'm glad to be back, man. I've been off for the past 2 weeks.
Been on vacation, man.
Been on vacation. Been doing a few other things.
You been in Vegas?
I was in Vegas. It was dope. Shout out to Vegas.
How long you been in Vegas?
I was in Vegas for a week.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
You and the wifey?
Yeah.
I told folks, I told them the first week why you were gone. I was your 19th anniversary, and somebody hit me up and said he only 25.
Yeah, no. Hey, listen, I'll take it. Listen, it's fine. If you think I'm 25, I'll take it.
I only got 19 years.
I started real early.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, man. This is another show brought to you by Independent Capital Group. You know, we do this every week when I am here. I don't know what DP did when I wasn't, but keep in mind that Independent Capital Group is a group of trained professionals there to help you not only with your real estate investment needs, but also with your credit needs. We have tools available for you to help you boost your credit, that'll help you get through certain things, specifically when it comes to buying a home. Or if you already have your credit good and you're looking to invest in real estate, but don't really have the time, holler at the good brothers at Independent Capital Group. For more information, go to independentcapitalatl.com. Again, that's independentcapitalatl.com. Independent Capital Group, Black owned for Black people who want to make green money.
That's what's up there. So we had a 4-part real estate kind of guru class scheduled for you guys.
Free game.
And tonight was going to be the part 1, and it was going to be similar to the class that we did a year ago.
Yeah.
But, given the fact that the George Floyd verdict came out today, we wanted to not miss this moment in history and have some Black male perspective of, what we think about the incident, what we think about the trial, what we think about the verdict, and we as Black men, we don't talk about certain things.
Absolutely.
We hold it in because we got to be the strong one.
Right.
So we've been taught that from a kid, and even playing football, anything,
Yeah.
I'll get over it. Suck it up.
You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show your emotional side. You're not supposed to do none of that. You're supposed to just be a man.
Yeah. So we felt that it was a perfect opportunity, and it should happen that we need to pay respect to George Floyd on this day, especially since we got a guilty on all 3 charges verdict. And that's unusual. What I'm saying? That's history making.
So before we go any further, let's go ahead and introduce the panel. We have our special guest back, Travis Brown. He's been on the show a few times, and we just family. So he's welcome anytime to come on the show. So thank you for coming back, obviously. And this is a new brother on the show. He's been in the background.
Yeah, his wife, Dr. Jamie, has
right
front and center stage before.
Right. But we got the my big brother Marcus Grinage on the show today.
My LB, my friend.
So we're just gonna talk about all things the trial and then some other things. We're just gonna chop it up. Before we do that, like we always do, we're gonna do a toast. We're gonna have both the brothers go ahead and toast today. So Marcus, you go first with your toast. Travis, you go first with yours, and you go second with yours, and then we'll go ahead and drink up.
I guess one big toast for these 4 brothers that I call really brothers. Just the love of our friendship that I have. Toast to that.
All right.
I just want to toast to, I think getting a verdict on all 3 charges is a good step in a forward direction for us, and for cops understanding that you just can't kill young Black brothers for no particular reason. Have a reason. So I'm gonna toast to that.
Salute to those 2 things. Good deal. So DP, let's everybody should already know, but for those who don't, what were the charges that Sharman was guilty on?
You would ask me that.
Well, I thought you had it pulled up. I wasn't trying to be.
I gotta look at.
I wasn't trying to be a douche. So
I think it's 2nd-degree murder.
So he got charged for 2nd-degree murder. He got charged for 3rd-degree murder and 2nd-degree manslaughter.
Correct.
Right. So he was charged on all 3 counts. The verdict came down maybe a little bit after 4 Minnesota time. And the first thing that I did, because I just got out of work. I was getting ready. I was changing and getting ready to come over here. Well, first I had to drop Elias off. And as I was changing, I had it on my phone, right? And I stopped everything. right? And I made sure that Elias, my son, who's 16, was with me while we was watching the verdict. Mm-hmm. It was something that I felt needed to be done just as a father to a son, just to have him aware of how serious this was, right?
That's right.
So when the verdict came down, I have to tell you guys, it was like a weight off of my shoulders because I truly was nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I truly was nervous. And in my mind, I had this thought like, damn, what if this jury comes back and they don't convict him on all 3 charges? What are people going to be looking like?
Yeah, because it was kind of an eerie moment because how long it took from the time they announced that we had the verdict until the time it actually was read.
Right.
You know, so you don't know, you know, in the political game, they could have been playing the game like, oh, we need to get our armed forces or the National Guard ready for what's about to happen because it's not going to be favorable to the public.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know what was going on in the back room, but luckily, you know, it worked out the way it's supposed to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's different. You know, we used to having these trials and then at the end of the day, we like, damn, how did they not see the same facts in the same video that we saw? But they come up with a totally different, you know, outcome and verdict to something that a kid can see, a 10-year-old can see. Yeah, he did the crime. You know what I'm saying? It's on video. I mean, so you can imagine what our ancestors were going through when there was no video. You know what I'm saying? It was only the white cops' word against theirs, and you know, so even with the video, it's still not a guarantee. You know, so it's crazy.
Yeah,
and just to touch on that is as you know, it is a double standard, right? Because I was watching a video I think it was last night on Instagram about this guy in Chicago. He was driving the Red Explorer.
What color was it?
It was a burgundy or a red.
What color was the guy?
White.
A white guy.
Right. Okay. So
it was 2 police officers.
Okay.
Pulled him over. He had a gun literally sitting on the seat.
This is the video that
I think it's my video.
That's the video that me and DP were talking before you got in here.
Okay. Yeah. And literally, like, they were pleading.
Now keep in mind that happened in like December.
Yeah.
That's not that recent.
It's okay.
Right. It's not that recent.
It's not that, but it happened in it happened like in December or somewhere around there.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, just the fact that the point that I was trying to get across, like they were pleading with him not to grab the gun, but being that if we had a gun sitting on the seat, we wouldn't have got that plea. We would have just got
so me and DP were sitting there talking about that too, because I brought that up to DP. Of sitting there saying like they were asking this guy to put his hands on the steering wheel, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to put my hands on the steering wheel." And then they were giving him all these other commands for him to do, and he was no. The next thing you know, the guy starts the car and then just drives off,
pulls off.
You know, and it's like any little simple thing that a black man or a brown man does in that same situation, we would have been shot.
Yeah,
absolutely, no question.
Or even tased. Yeah. But this guy was able to drive off, and he actually did live. I mean, the cops chased him down, and he actually lived. But it just seems with us.
Yeah, he wanted him getting arrested. Yeah,
it just seems with us that, you know, if you're black and you're brown, cops who are trained are terrified of us, regardless if we have a gun or an imaginary gun. They're still terrified. But if it's a white person, and if they can have a gun,
they can have,
and they're not as terrified, or they're not terrified at all, that these people are still apprehended and taken away. So to your point, also, I watched another video where this guy he had got pulled over by these 2 officers, and the guy starts they're trying to put handcuffs on him, so he starts tussling with the 2 officers. Took the baton off the officer.
Started beating
one of the officers with the baton. Runs around the car, the cop car, hops in the cop car, and drives off. And he still lives. Now, can you imagine a black person?
No, we just had it happen last year at Wendy's on Prime Road. What's his name? Is that Eric Garner?
No. Eric Garner was in New York.
Yeah, Eric Garner was in New York.
The one where they burned.
Where they burned on Wendy's.
Because the guy was tussling with the officer.
And he was sleeping in the car. I mean, like, he was drunk in the car, but he was asleep.
He was faded. Yeah.
And that's different. Like, this guy was like beating one of the officers with his own baton.
And all this guy was trying to do, he was basically just trying to get
He
away.
was right. What I was trying to do was just sleep off his drunkenness in the Wendy's drive-thru.
Yeah. And he literally only ran because his sister's apartment was right around the corner from the Wendy's.
Right.
So
you talking about Rayshard Brooks?
yes, that's him.
But I mean, and just like how you said, the guy was jumped in. Well, similar to, remember the kid that was working at Grinage over in was it La Vista? Who they came to serve him with a warrant. That might have been 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
And he drove towards them and they killed him. But he was driving a customer car at that time. He was like a 21-year, 22-year-old kid.
Wow.
In the cab. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, it's just, you know,
and no weapon. I was like,
it's funny that, you know, so many people, white people want to sit there and say, well, you know, you should get over it. You know, you shouldn't feel that type of way. But when we have so many incidents like this, like, you know, when you look at the mass shooting in Charleston, white kid, he kills all those people in the church. They take him to get some meat from McDonald's to make sure that you know he has a full belly before he goes in the jail. Like, imagine that. Like, we can't even get away from whatever scene we're at. We can't even get away, but we're able to walk. We're getting drove off and basically in the bag. Yeah, because we're dead at the scene.
Yeah,
but yet they're able to go get something to eat, go on trial, and everything else.
So I got a question for you, Dev. So how important do you think it was for them to have him convicted on 3 charges, all 3 charges? Very, very. The nation is hurting, and it was a tipping point. I truly believe that if he would have not been guilty on all 3 counts, even if it was one that he was not guilty on, right? There would have been rioting, looting. It would have been the same thing that happened last year when he died, unfortunately, but I think it would have been worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because of everything else that happened after that.
Well, you know what? I think they kind of realized it would have been worse because, like, so me and DP were talking earlier too. It's crazy where you sit there and you're talking about the school system. Yeah. Sat there and said, "Hey, we're canceling all in-class school for the rest of the week."
They don't know what's going to happen.
They don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And they already had, like, so even companies that were down near the courthouse, as soon as they realized there was a verdict, sent people home.
Yeah, they shut down. Yeah, right.
So I mean, like, they recognize that if
this may not go well.
This may not go well, but the fact that if he was not convicted on any of those accounts,
the whole country would have been burning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And so, I mean, because you looked at, like, even other cities had National Guard in those cities.
Yeah, it was ready.
Oh, they were ready. Absolutely.
So to answer your question, Babby, yeah, man, it was very important and critical to not just American history, period. I don't care if you're Black, white, Asian, Latino, it doesn't matter. It was important to history for people to see that you can't get away with murder. Because here's the thing, right? You have so many of all these things that happen, you know, Eric Garner to Philando Castile to, you know, a whole bunch of different, just foolishness, right? But the pattern always was the family was going to get the bag, unfortunately, and then charges either were brought up but never stuck.
Right.
No one never went to trial. It always was just money, was millions of dollars was basically given to these families.
And it's almost to the point where it's like y'all just need to shut up and be happy. Yeah, so we're giving y'all money.
So it's like, yo, like, all right, these people are going to get this money. And, you know, a lot of times we talk about millions of dollars. So it's going to be transformative to people's lives, right? But that doesn't change the fact that they lost this loved one to a crime that was heinous. And for the most part, people seen what happened, right? So now what made this so important was that, yo, he's going to have to pay. Right. Like, you can't get past this one. There's too much on the line for him to be able to get over it. So that's what it was to me.
So second question to that, right? So we know we had to get all 3 charges, right? Yeah. Now,
The most important one, though, they all was important, but the most important was the second degree murder.
Yeah, I want to say that we had to get all 3 charges. We at least had to get the second degree.
Right.
Okay.
The second degree murder.
Second degree murder. Yes. Not manslaughter.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Go ahead.
So the video, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't have that video,
he would have not got convicted.
right? Because we have several other videos that have been viewed. Hold on, I'm sorry. Been viewed in court, right? Being that we watched the video on national, we watched it happen. Was it live? Right? Wasn't it live?
No.
It wasn't live when it happened.
Right, when they were recording it.
I don't think somebody was on Facebook.
I don't think anybody was doing it live when it happened. But
okay, but being that it was so widespread all over the world,
yes,
that's why they had to do. Do you think that's why they really?
Well, no, baby. Yeah, go ahead, DP.
We've had that happen before and it didn't happen.
Okay, right.
You even go back in the day to
Rodney King.
That was before cell phones. They
had the videotape.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And all the cops, I believe, got off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They gave Rodney King a bag, but
they didn't have that much of a buzz. Yeah, they rioted in LA.
Well, what I would say is
the whole aspect of like the whole world.
This is what I would say with this in today's society, and it's going to eventually help us even more in terms of making sure that the cops who do these type of things pay, is that now you have social media and now you have phones that are so easily accessible for you to videotape what's going on.
Everything is heightened now.
Right. Because before, we as Black individuals, we knew what was going on in our neighborhoods. That's not the first time you've seen an individual get beat up by the cops or get shot by the cops. But the story that was told from the cops to the court system was totally different from what actually happened.
Right.
So now you have the video, you have social media, because nowadays, as soon as they do the video, that video is going up on Instagram, on Facebook instantly. And now it's spreading across all 50 states, across the countries. Everybody gets to see it through the world.
Right.
So now you can't sit there and say, well, that's not what happened. It's not the cop's word versus everybody, and versus the person who died or the person who got injured anymore. Now we have the videotape, we have the recording. Now what is going to be the new narrative as the police officer that you spin to try to make what you did correct? And you see what they try to do is that, the knee on his neck was something that was tight. Well, then they had the expert sit there and say, well, no, that's not tight.
Right.
So now going forward with all these videos and everything else, now what do they do?
Right.
But then look at the young kid who got killed in South Georgia, Ahmaud.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So, and this was an ex-sheriff or something that was a part of that murder. He was a part of some police department down there.
Right.
And they still have the mentality that if I'm law enforcement, I can do what I want to do and get away with it. It would just luckily passerby who was behind them was recording this stuff. No, because if that recording wasn't there, the whole narrative would have been different. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would never knew what happened. You on the country road running, and these white boys, you know what I'm saying, they just gonna citizen arrest you and shoot you because they think you broke into somebody's house that why would they even think that? They are looking for.
What's the thing that they always want to sit there and say is that you fit the description of somebody.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that the 4 of us have fallen into that at one point in time. We fit the description. Knowing darn well we didn't fit any description.
Yeah. We got profiled.
Oh, absolutely.
Me
and
Travis and Curb. Shout out to Curb because I know he's watching.
Right.
We got profiled. Coming to Buffalo Wild Wings to meet you for draft night.
Right.
And
in Douglasville.
In Douglasville. And they stopped us and said, the 3 of you fit the description of 3 assailants who robbed a vehicle that looked similar to Curb's car.
No,
it was your car.
It was the Maxima.
It was a rental. Yeah.
It was a rental.
It was a rental.
Yeah. So we fit that description. Right. And it's like, what? Like, we going to get some wings, beer, and look at the draft. Like, ain't nobody got time to be doing that.
How'd that end up?
we wound up meeting him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had no reason.
He had no reason. Yeah.
All my stuff was legit. He ran my license. I mean, he ran my license.
I think
the rental didn't have the rental.
It was like he was looking for like laptops or something crazy. But I will say this: if it wasn't for Babby going to the wrong damn Buffalo Wild Wings to begin with, we wouldn't have got into the foolishness we got into.
Right. Right.
But no, yeah. So I get it. I understand that. I've been a part of it a few times.
It's like they use that for a reason to pull you over. I mean, and then they go from there of, okay, what can we really get on these guys?
Right. Right.
And that's the biggest issue that I have is like they go from sitting there saying you look like somebody, then once they get you, it's like, okay, well, let's see if we got any warrants on you. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything in the car that we can get you for.
Yeah.
And then so forth.
Yeah.
And no offense to the good cops out there, because we do have some stellar individuals that do their job 100% the correct way.
Go ahead,
so
your statement.
Yeah. So we're just talking about those ones that we know have issues.
So let me ask this question now.
Go ahead.
If we as citizens who don't know many cops, I probably can't name one cop that I know of by name, can see that they're bad cops out here. And these good cops work with them every day. Why can't they see what's going on and say something about it? Because I mean, we were talking.
Yeah.
How could the cop, that police fraternal organization, be more tight than you and your black folks who, if you black and you're a cop, you go home to a black mother or a black wife or a black child. You know what I'm saying? So how can that blue code or blue wall be more how can you have more loyalty to that and then your people?
That's something that me and you talked about before.
That's a good question.
Before they came in, and it makes you think like, yo, is that code so important that you can actually look past all the wrongs that you see? I know it has to be hard if you have like a cop who's like a racist cop that that they're racist in your department, but you're still going to go with that person over the fact that you know that this black kid or whatever, when you came to the scene, didn't do everything that white cop said he did. Like, at what point do you sit there and say, hey, I have to go on the side of right and not on the side of blue?
Well, I guess the question would be, keeping in that same vein, right? I have to go on the side of right as opposed to the side of blue. And I guess the question that person will have to ask is at what cost, right? Because if you are going to go against the grain of the fraternal order, right, then you also are going to have to be prepared for whatever comes with that, which means you may have more of the brothers that are going against you coming after you as opposed to being with you.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but at the same token, you still a black man.
True.
Even a white person, you still white, and hopefully, supposedly, most of them, the right wing, they're Christian. They're always hollering about their Christian faith, this, that, and the other.
Okay.
But doing right is supposed to be bigger than going along to get along. You know what I'm saying?
But you being a Christian, when has that made a difference in some people? I mean, that's just a saying.
But I know that. But I'm saying, being a Christian, supposedly you want to do the right thing versus just the popular thing.
I mean, that's a good question. I can't answer
that. If you black, again, you still going home to black people.
Yeah.
Because if you're a black cop, you got a son, you got a daughter, this, that, and the other. If your daughter go outside your precinct and those cops in the other precinct don't know your family,
okay,
when they stop them, they're going to treat them just like the ones you see being treated like they weren't supposed to be treated. So they're going to be profiled. They're going to be, treated like animals.
Right.
But
if I'm not mistaken, I know quite a few black cops who have kids. If I'm not mistaken, I know they either give them some type of
card
or something like that to let the officer know that this is a child whose father is or mother is.
So that shouldn't even be allowed, because if your child gets special treatment, then you would never do the right thing because you know yours is going to be good.
True, DP, but you also you're right. I'm not saying that you're not right, but you got to be mindful of certain things, right? So it's a brotherhood, it's a fraternal order, right? It's a brotherhood, so you would expect certain perks to happen. Sure. Like you're Omega, right? You would expect certain perks to happen. I'm a Sigma, you're a Mason, so there are certain perks that come with that club. I'm not saying that you're right. You're right, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm not trying to justify that as right. I'm just saying that there are certain benefits out there.
So,
but it's the truth, though. It's the truth, though.
It's the truth,
but it shouldn't be.
It's
true, but it shouldn't be.
But I mean, the reality of it is, I mean, that's probably been going on for ages.
Yeah.
In terms of organizations.
So now the black cops are in the fraternal belly of it.
You're in the club.
So now they're just participating without realizing the negative effects of having on their community and their race.
Well, I don't know.
Tell you what you should do.
I don't know about that.
We should find a cop to come on your show, and then we can ask them these questions.
Cops are not going to be 100% honest. They can't.
Hey, well, I mean,
because if they're 100% honest, then there's some stuff they got to tell us live that is not going to go well with.
And then all we doing is assuming right now.
I can guarantee you that. You know,
I'm just saying, like, what we think. We're just saying what we think. We don't know what's actual.
I'll say this. I mean, they have their reasons. It's not just black cops. It's like, you know, I grew up in the Bronx, so, you know, you got black, Spanish, you know, whatever. But you got black cops, you got Spanish cops that are from Soundview that actually are cops, right? So it's like knowing where you came from and knowing what it is, right? Why would you still become a cop? They have their reasons, you know. It's just what, you know, I don't know what those reasons are, but, you know, I'm sure that they think about those things like, damn, you know, I'm sure people are going to be looking at me sideways because I am a cop, but they did it for whatever reason they wanted to do it. And, you know, who are we to tell them otherwise?
I don't think that we telling them otherwise. We seen how it's playing out in the streets with Black America. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So are you saying that they should quit?
I think they need to be honest with society. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If you have a job and if you have a racist cat at your job,
yes,
and you know he's racist,
okay, and
he's doing stuff to keep other blacks from, you know what I'm saying, being promoted or moving up the chain of command. Okay. And you're gonna, if you have the authority, or even if you know, you're gonna say something to somebody, be like, "Yeah, this ain't right." I mean, it just ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then at some point, you just can't, as a human being, or even and especially a black human being, you just can't sit there and continue to go to work every day 5, 10, 15, 20 years and allow that to happen, because, you know, if it's happening over here, it could happen where your kid is working too. You know what I'm saying? Where your wife is working, where your mom's working. You know what I'm saying? If it's cancer over here, it could be a cancer there too. So I'm saying, you know, you're not helping the situation just because that one person is benefiting. You know, you got your gun, you got your power, you got respect, you know, but you killing the community.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I mean,
what's the solution?
What do you? What would you want to see?
I want to see accountability. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Because I mean, is what happened today a start in the right direction?
That's a start in the right direction.
Okay.
You know, that is a start. That's something positive that happened that we all be like, damn, at least, you know, we got this one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? And I commend what's the attorney that's doing all the civil suits for all of them?
Crump?
Yeah. Crump? Yeah, I commend Crump, because Crump is always on the scene. When it happens, Crump is right there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so he gonna make him pay.
Did you just do a commercial for him?
So him, Al Sharpton. I don't care what nobody said about Al Sharpton. If something happened to you, you want Al to be there, because if Al is there,
he's gonna bring attention to it.
So let me ask you a question, because I'm gonna go back to your point where you say you want accountability, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So on the video, it was literally 5 cops, right?
Yeah,
it was a total of 5 cops that was there.
I think it was 4.
But it was another cop standing on the outskirts.
For the sake of discussion, let's say yes.
It was 5, right? Okay. So you say we should have accountability for you seeing another cop doing something wrong and not doing anything about it, right?
Correct.
So with that being said, what should the other charges be on the other 4 cops that were there and didn't even say anything to him about, hey, this guy can't breathe, take your knee off of there?
They should have been accessory to murder.
I don't know if they'll get assessed. They're going to get some charges too.
I
don't know if they'll
didn't they
get
all
accessory
plead
to
out?
murder.
Didn't the rest of them plead out? He was the last one, wasn't
I'm
he?
not sure.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think he's the very first one.
He's the first one, yeah.
So they about to plead out then. You know what I'm saying? He got bigger now.
It would be well.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it would be if he got
It would be prudent for them to.
plead out. But I'm saying if he gets convicted for murder, which he did, they would be accessories to murder. Yeah.
Listen, if we have any litigators who are watching, anybody who knows anything about the law, this is an interactive show. So please feel free to put any text or whatever in there.
You asked me what would I want them to get. That's what I want.
No, I said what would the what would you want the charges to be? What should the charges be?
If he got convicted of murder, I think it should be accessory to murder.
Yeah, because they're complicit. Because they did not stop him. They have a right.
I mean, like they didn't stop him. And
you would think they're just as culpable as
absolutely.
Because right now he's committed a crime.
Yeah.
So they allowed him to commit a crime in which the crime is murder. So they should have some part of that, those charges.
Right. So now let's say that just happens, right? Let's say they get convicted of accessory to murder. Now that goes back to your point. Now these other cops that sees a cop they're with doing something wrong, right? Now that makes them feel like, I'm obligated to do something because
I will say this though, if those cops are convicted of accessory to murder, or if they plead out to anything that has real charges, I think that will have a trickle down effect of any officer who sees another officer doing something that is criminal to somebody they're trying to like apprehend or trying to put handcuffs on. I do think that you will have more officers sit there and say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Listen, we need to do this a different way, because now they realize, listen, I can go to jail behind this by not saying nothing.
You would hope.
Instead of going through that blue code of, listen, let him do whatever he's going to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
now you have to sit there and say, hey, like, yo, you're taking it way too far.
And keep in mind, you did have, you have cops who were like that. You had the woman cop that was in upstate New York, I believe. It was either Albany or Buffalo. I know they're 2 different cities way farther apart from each other, but still, the point is, she saw something that was being done wrong, and she basically told the cop about it. And when she took the cop to task about it, she was reprimanded, and then she lost her job and also lost her pension. But and I'll look it up. But she actually just got her pension reinstated, maybe last week or so. That was in the news. But she was. What happened was there was something going on in the streets, and the cop was doing something to someone, and she saw that it was wrong. And it's on tape, it's on camera. And she went ahead and did something about it. She told him how wrong it was. I think she pushed him away. She was basically shocking him up, like she should have been. Right. And she was the one who actually got in trouble for it.
And see, the folks who were a part of taking her pension away and trying to railroad her as being basically the one who was wrong. Right. They should face them.
Absolutely, because you got to think about this. Is the other side of she got her pension and everything taken away. She can never actually go back into that precinct again, if you think about it, because that code is so big that she's always going to be looked upon as basically she went against that code by even saying anything to him. So I mean, I do agree with you that those people who basically got her fired or whatever put in motion for her to go through all that. Yeah, they should definitely.
So the cop I'm talking about, her name is Carol Horn. She was a former Buffalo police officer, and she basically, after like 15 years, after 15 years, she got her pension reinstated because she stopped one of her police colleagues from placing the man in a chokehold.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not as easy as make it seem to do what is right.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, is the harder wrong, is the harder right better than the easier wrong? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, I mean, yeah. If you look at all these situations, how many times that they could have did the heart of right, and they went the other way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like so I'm pretty sure we all seen that incident with the U.S. soldier who got pulled over. There was two officers that pulled him over.
Yeah, Virginia, right?
There was two officers that pulled him over. Now you had the one officer who had to pull he thought he had to pull his gun out and pepper spray this man, but you had the second officer right there
who was scared, who was nervous, and didn't know what the hell to do.
At what point in your mind as the second officer do you sit there and say, listen, there's no need for this, and you have gone way too far? I mean, because as an officer, you're pulling over somebody who's actually in their full army attire.
Right.
But and I get that, but you got to remember the guy who actually pulled out his gun, he was the higher ranking.
There you go.
He was
a high ranking officer, and you can tell that the second officer looked just significantly younger.
He was going based on what
younger.
But still, the fact of the matter is, right is right, wrong is wrong.
And I was going to say, but that doesn't make him right.
I'm not saying that he was. I'm just saying.
But I can understand in terms of
protocol and subordinate.
I can see how he didn't do that. But but at what point do you sit there and say, well, do you as an officer, because you're an officer of the law, do you try to ease the situation? Because if you look at the video, what did that man do to deserve to get pepper sprayed at literally inches away from his face? It wasn't like he was feet away.
I mean, he didn't do anything.
Let me make this comment. Sneaky Gamer said that, I assume we're talking about the George Floyd police officers.
Okay.
The other three are currently charged with aiding and abetting murder, as well as aiding and abetting manslaughter. More charges can still come.
So good looking out. Thank you.
Please, but to come out. You know what I'm saying? Because if he is guilty, there's no way you can be innocent. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, if he's found guilty, you would have to have those type of charges brought up on you, or at least if you did have those charges brought up on you in the beginning, they would have to change those charges because he already been found guilty.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's almost like a slam dunk for the Attorney General.
Well, yeah,
I don't know if it's a slam dunk because
let me ask you this too.
Go ahead.
Now, do you think that states with black attorney generals are more willing to try these cases because, this guy, Minnesota had the black male attorney general. What was the female attorney? Is that New York with Eric Garner? And, she faced a lot of political backlash because of her decision.
I never really looked at it like that because I believe especially in these times now with everything being videotaped.
Yeah.
I believe that between the media and the people of those areas pushing it, that they're going to have to try those cases. It's not like, I guess it's not like before where you did not have video, where you could sit there and sweep things underneath the rug, go quick to sit there and say, we'll throw some money at the family and this and that. When you have those videos now that go across the world, I mean, it's kind of hard not to pull up charges, because you got to think just before you go. You got to think when for the Floyd case, you had people in other countries protesting for this.
Yeah, because it was obvious.
Right.
It was so obvious this time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, if you did not take him to trial, the whole world will be looking at you in some type of way of what's going on in the United States. That they can that cops could get away with killing a black man on camera.
Well, the world is,
and it's okay.
They're probably looking at that already because of all the other foolishness that's going on.
So just to add on to that, right? Initially they only had 2 charges for him.
Right.
The only reason why they add the second degree murder was because I forgot where he was. I don't know if it was in California or somewhere. Another cop got convicted for second degree murder. So that's the only reason why they added.
They added that in the beginning. I do remember
to
that.
his case because of that conviction.
Right.
Otherwise, it only would have been third degree
murder
and second degree manslaughter.
And these attorney generals are taking these cases to trial. But, you know, if you got a slam dunk trial,
right,
and you're the attorney general, it's really about how many resources you put behind that case to make sure that it's like the feds. You get caught by the feds, it's almost a guarantee that you're going to do some time because they got unlimited resources to build that case, make sure that case sticks. And either you're going to plead and give me everybody else on your crew, or, you know, you're going to do this time. Yeah. You know, but the states, they got to pick and choose. I understand that.
Well, you know, in this case, too, it was different in the sense that the actual attorney general's office was the one who took the lead to prosecute Chauvin. It wasn't the local prosecutor, which, you know, that was a difference.
More sense because of the case, the size of this case in terms of how many people are going to actually really be paying attention to it. Right. So I can see that the attorney general will take
this one I need, you know, this one he needed to really take care of.
Because you got to think about it. If they would have fumbled this case and lost it, I mean, that city would have been burning down.
It would have been a different conversation today.
And then the narrative would have been, why they doing that to our city? You know what I'm saying? Versus why y'all killing us black folks? You know what I'm saying? It's like how's your property more valuable than this life of this man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I mean, when has our life ever been valuable?
I mean, you're right.
To a certain point.
You definitely right. You know what I'm saying? It's a sad reality.
So this thing about reform for the police officers, you think that's needed, or you think that's going to change anything?
I think that it's needed, but I think it has to be a bigger discussion of what do we, as a community or cross communities, see what is really need to be reformed.
Well, here's the thing. I have a question too. What exactly? Because I always go back and forth with this. So I need to know. And again, for the people who are watching, feel free to comment as well. What does it mean when you say defund the police?
Oh, okay. So
let's dive into that.
All right. So my definition of when they first came out with that thing of to defund the police. Defund the police is not really. It's okay. It is somewhat taking money away from the police, but it's taking money away and putting it into other things to help the police out. Such as when you sit there and they get this call where somebody who has mental health issues,
like the guy in DeKalb County who's the Air Force vet who had mental health issues. And
they don't need to send.
Was this the one that was naked?
Naked.
They don't need to just send the police out to him. They need to send somebody who is actually experienced,
like a mental health type of counseling, a crisis situation.
Who actually has experience and has the education to handle that situation. Okay. Don't send somebody who is gung ho and quick to grab their gun out to that situation. And who is not trained to deal with that situation. What they're trained to deal with is either we're going to, I mean, really, if you look at it, they're trained to deal with we're going to arrest you or we're going to shoot you.
Right.
So if you can't get this man who has mental health issues arrested, he's going to be dead. So when you talk about defund the police, that's what I think of defund the police, of putting those dollars into other areas of need that will actually help the police be able to do a better job at policing.
So my crude thought about that is, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not on the right track. So instead of giving, I'm doing simple math, $100,000 to the police to fund for firearms, do 75,000 and do another 25,000 towards crisis situations to de-escalate things. Is that it?
Interject on that. Okay. Instead of giving police these tankers and these war armor,
military grade
apparatus to go out here in the middle of our community and show brute force against your people. Sell that and give it to the counselors that need to be there when you're dealing with certain types of people.
That's defunding. It's not really just taking money away from them, but it's kind of that's a great word. It's reallocating those funds into different areas.
Okay, because some of the narrative that I see is that, you know, when you say defund the police, it's like get the police out of here altogether.
But some of it is that, well, we need to bring them back to the roots of why you're a police,
okay,
and then teach you how you're supposed to police.
Okay.
Right.
You know, because we keep letting them go out as they are now. They're like, you know what I'm saying, the Wild Wild West.
So that's what a reform aspect of it comes
And then
in.
the other side of it is, I think that one thing that the police officers need to do is, like, the majority of police officers work the same area all the time.
Okay.
Why don't people in your area even know you as a police officer?
Why don't they, or why do they?
Why don't they know you as a police officer?
Okay.
Why don't you spend more time in the area that you police with the community that you're policing? I know when we did an event for the census, and one of the some of the DeKalb County Police helped us out.
Right.
They came out, met with the whole subdivision.
Yep.
Made sure that the subdivision knew each of their names and so forth. Don't just come around when it's, you know, when it's the opportunity of you need to arrest somebody or you need to basically come and shoot somebody.
Right.
Actually come around so that the community can sit there and trust you and know who you are. I know in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when I was growing up as a kid, we used to have
shout out to Pittsburgh.
We used to have was Officer Friendly. I don't know if they had that situation. So Officer Friendly would come to your school.
Movie, I got the hookup. They had Officer Friendly on.
Right. So Officer Friendly would come to your school and actually talk to the students and everything, make the students feel comfortable. They don't do that anymore. Where you're making the community feel comfortable with the police officer.
So wait, Officer Friendly was a program?
Yeah, it was actually a program, but his name really wasn't Officer Friendly.
No, I get it. Yeah, it was like one officer though that would go around.
No, it was like a whole group of officers that would go to each of the schools.
All right. Okay.
So let me ask you a question, because I know y'all about to go to. Do you think? All right. First off, police officers are what? Community service.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Supposed to be, right?
Yeah, they're civil servants.
Right.
We paid them.
So do you think they took that mindset out and went to straight career job? So now they don't even look at it as community service anymore. This is my job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
I think ones who have been on the job so long, in which they done seen a lot of BS or they done dealt with a lot of BS, that goes out the window and becomes a job.
Yeah, because I think there are cops on the beat, as they would say,
Right.
that are jaded because of the stuff that they've seen.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But at the same token, some of them come into the career with their jaded mentality already. I mean, some of them are already racist, and then when they come in, that just give them more power, more authority to carry out whatever, you know what I'm saying, mentality they want to invoke on everybody else around them.
I just wonder, like, you know, how much do they goes into once a police officer, you know, decides to become police and becomes a police officer? How much does it go into their mental stability before they become a police officer?
Yeah,
you know, like,
right.
You know, like, were there signs before they became an officer that you could sit there and say, hey,
so
we don't know if you need to be here?
So what you're saying is, you know, they do like a mental evaluation
absolutely,
before they actually are able to become
they go through something, but obviously some of them are not. They need to change it so they can deal with racism and bias, you know what I'm saying, to be caught or being noticed when they're going to do this.
I guess in my mind also is that a lot of these sergeants or whoever kind of runs the local officers that you see every day, they know that there's some of these people are racist.
Yeah.
And they're still sticking those officers in Black communities. Now, whose fault is that? You know, at the end of the day, if you're a sergeant who's running this group of young men or group of men, women, or whatever, and you're sending them out to these communities, and you know that this person is racist, well, why do you have them in the Black community trying to police the Black community?
Sometimes it's by design.
Well, I mean, that becomes another question. Is it by design?
They know they're going to get these quarters. We need a certain number of arrests. We need this money flowing through the court system.
But you would hope that that's not the case, where that you're intentionally putting a racist to police in a black neighborhood.
That actually goes.
He put his knee on George Floyd's neck.
What you guys are talking about actually goes into a comment that was just mentioned. Shout out to Curb for this comment too. He said if most cops worked where they're from, the attitude and okay, let me read this again. Sorry. If most cops worked where they were from, the attitudes would be different and they will handle the public differently.
Oh, absolutely. But that goes to my point of if these officers actually go to the communities that they're policing, get to know the areas that they're policing,
right,
it would be a lot better as well.
Right.
But when you have a person who comes in on the job 6 a.m. and gets off at 8, whatever, how long he works.
Right.
And that's all he's doing in that community is driving through, seeing in their minds all the bad that this neighborhood has to give. Then that's not helping the community out.
No, it's not.
Well, that goes back to my point. They go from being community service.
It's a job.
To just being a job.
Right. And that's what I said. That
but you got
a certain time, I do believe that it just becomes a job to them.
Because you got into it for the reason
but that goes to also if you look at teachers.
But here's
how many teachers come into it as they really want to teach the kids. But after being in so long,
or are they just doing it because they're trying to get them student loans?
I got a friend.
That's even worse.
I got a friend that
but it's true.
And he stopped being a teacher because he's like these badass kids. He can't deal with them no more.
Right.
Listen, I
went into
that.
the administrative part of it because he can't.
My mom was a teacher, and some of the stories that my mom told to me, as her being a teacher, I know I couldn't have did. Like she told me. It was maybe 4 or 5 years into her teaching, and she was teaching in the high school level. When she turned, this is the last time she turned her back to the kids. One of the kids threw a desk at my mom.
What?
So when you say a desk, right? Do you mean like
where it has the desk and the chairs attached to it?
Yeah,
that's a strong ass kid.
So he picked that up and he tossed it, and it just so happened. I mean, it did not hit my mom.
Yeah.
But that was the last day as a teacher.
Yeah.
That she turned her back to the kids.
Wow.
Really?
I would hit somebody. I would hit one of them kids with the desk.
I got a strong feeling about that too. What Curb said. I think police officers, not necessarily teachers, need to live in the neighborhood because you may not want to be around them kids you're around every day. You know what I'm saying? Administrators do. School board members should. You know what I'm saying? Ministers should. They shouldn't have the big ass house out in the suburbs when they
I agree with that.
When their church out in the hood. They should be around the people. No, but how can you have your post to what's going on with your people if you're not even around them?
Well, I want to say that. Well, I know in Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, and it used to be. I ain't gonna say used to be. A lot of the teachers did live in the actual city. And you can even look down here where a lot of police officers do live in the city because they get the program where they get the discount on the rent or the discount on the mortgage. So I mean, they do have that.
But the majority of them,
I mean, I guess I don't see it as a necessity. But it would be nice if they all did.
We have some more comments. My dude said even if these cases go to trial, the outcome still hanging in the balance of the jury being unpredictable with its verdict.
Make sure to tell Big Cousin we're not talking about Barack today.
Yeah, we're not talking about.
All right.
Sneaky Gamer. I don't know who that is. Who's Sneaky Gamer?
I don't know.
I think defund the police equal demilitarize the police, and I believe you need to learn from police in other countries. Okay.
Well, I don't know about that because a lot of police in other countries are more. What's the word that they use?
Militarized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Than they are here. Like I've been to like Germany and places like that where I mean they have ARs and they're sitting there fully vested up as just as police officers.
Well, I guess it depends on what country.
We see less. We see less. They don't care who it is, though.
Well, there's a lot of things that goes on in different countries that,
right.
You know, that we don't do here in the States.
Now, they also say, I'm loving this conversation as a Norwegian. Y'all know any Norwegians? Y'all can figure it out.
No, but shout out to Norway, though. International, are we with it?
I find it hard to find real conversations about this topic and you guys are doing a good and important job.
We appreciate whoever that was. Thank you.
Yeah.
New York City used to. Not sure if they still do.
PAL.
Had a program, PAL.
Yeah, I remember the PAL because
youth and community was a great start back then.
Yeah.
Atlanta has that.
Yeah.
PAL right there.
PAL. I remember because they used to have the basketball tournaments and everything too.
Have it right off of Anderson Avenue, by Anderson Park.
So and that was what the cops was part of the
they played in the game or they had the program.
Well, it was a youth.
It was a youth program.
Okay.
From what
coaches and everything.
Correct. What I remember from is with the basketball tournaments, you had the cops being the coaches.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So maybe they should get back to that.
I think they should get back to a lot of that.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gotten so far away from it.
But then you get into, as I always said, we need to create a politician.
Oh boy.
If you create the politician, then these initiatives that we're talking about,
here we go.
You have the right to drive it. You can drive it.
The problem about creating a politician is that you're not going to get everything that you want from that politician.
But we need some of it. I mean,
listen. You're not going to get everything that you want from that politician. You will get certain things from that politician that the people want to have at whatever time that they're running. Then by the time that it's over with, it's all that everything that you wanted is not going to be.
That's the politics that we vote for. I'm talking the one that we read and make them into.
Listen, and the problem with politics is this: once they started getting that money, everything that they might have fought for before ain't gonna be the same thing they're fighting for today.
Everything evolves. You know what I'm saying?
So let me understand. So what he's trying to say is that we're gonna have to make a different politician every 2 to 4 years.
Listen, I am moderating the debate between you two on this one.
Yes.
So do you have more to talk about?
Every 2 to 4 years, but you have one in the cut who's learning after the first one is progressive.
So that's every 2 to 4 years.
No, but he's not going to a higher office every 2 to 4 years.
But what I'm saying is the thing and the needs of the people are going to change.
The policing.
Great question.
Can I ask you a question?
Great question.
What does that have to do with
He just want to
policing?
Who appoint the chief of police? City mayor?
Well, yeah.
The mayor.
How does that change their mentality?
If the chief of police is down. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I get.
So DP, what happens when the shift comes? Right. Let's say you groom your politician, right? Yeah. Whoever that may be, you groom your politician, and they are going through the ranks of the political landscape, and they get to a point where the lights are a little bit too bright, and you see that the shift is happening. What do you do at that point?
You know who controls that? The people who pull in the purse strings.
Oh, okay.
If we pull in the purse strings, that's who control the whole narrative on what he's going to be stomping for. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody stomps for their base.
That's only if so. But to the point
he's the kingmaker.
But I'm saying this is to the point of to him. It's only to the purse strings, correct? What if somebody else comes with some higher purse strings? Then the whole narrative changes from the original.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what happens when that changes?
And he's right. You don't get everything you want out of a politician.
Okay,
that's a given.
Okay,
but if you don't get nothing out of him, all you're doing is voting for them because they're your party. It's a difference.
That's a difference.
Can I ask y'all a question?
Like now, I almost can say 80-90% of black folks vote Democrat down the line.
Okay.
I wouldn't say 80. I would say it's probably a little less than that.
Well, even if it's 75.
Right. I'll say
75% is going to vote, and most of them are going to vote regardless of who running, whatever.
True indeed. They're not really going to know that platform, right?
It's a Democrat.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fact.
Well, I would say that things have gotten better over the years.
Yes.
With social media and the ability to actually learn about the candidates with the internet and everything else, things have gotten better.
But for the sake of discussion, people do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So regardless what they're offering, they're gonna get the vote, and they already know that. And most of them know that they just got to get enough in local politics. They got to get enough of them out there to win. That's all it's about, the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because some campaigns, 2,000 in local campaign, 2,000 votes get you in office. 3,000 votes get you in office. You don't have to have no 50,000 people come out to vote for you and some
for a local campaign. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. So if I can get, and they don't know, some of them don't even know what my platform.
Hold on.
Point for local, if you can just get a small
don't
base.
Forget your question.
If you can get a small base, you're good to go.
Yeah. But then that goes back to those politicians control the police officers and how law enforcement looks and is controlling the community.
Right. Hold on, Babby got a question.
Yeah. So I'm glad you went there. So how does that change the mindset of what's going on? Hey, you have a black cop with a black person driving. You treat that person the same way. You have a white cop with a black person, same way. How does the politician affects that part of what we're talking about?
One of the most reactive shooting actions that we've had since all of this craziness have happened,
right,
was Keisha Lance Bottom firing the police chief.
Yes,
after she shot Rashad Brooks, after the cop shot Rashad Brooks.
Okay.
No, I not that I can remember. No other police chief have been fired almost immediately after.
There's been some resigned, but yes, you're correct.
She fired her. You know what I'm saying, and brought a black guy to be the interim police chief.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that sets a mentality. Hey, even if I'm a high ranking, I got some accountability.
Yeah, there's no pass at this point. Because, nobody gets a pass.
Again, if somebody sees Keisha Lance Bottom kids out on the street and she's not with them, they don't know that's her kids. So they got the opportunity to be treated just like the rest of us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's no sign on their back saying, "Yeah, I'm Keisha Lance Bottom kid."
Yeah.
So she understands that, hey, if my kids are out there and they get mistakenly identified with somebody else, it's possible that they may not come home.
Okay. And so now when she goes to hire her next person,
okay,
right?
Yep.
What does she want him to relay down to his team?
Oh, that's gonna be
officers.
That's gonna be a discussion that she's gonna have.
Like, what is the expectation when you're dealing with?
That's gonna be a discussion.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, so.
Hey, we're not shooting first.
Well, I would suspect that person that person that she puts in place already understands,
right,
what the tone is going to be coming from her anyway.
Okay,
because that's her person.
Well, that's her person. Plus, he already done seen what happened earlier, where this person was shot. He was fired for basically
the white lady.
Yeah, she was fired very quickly. So whoever she hires, they're going to know what the deal is moving forward.
So because I'm playing devil's advocate, and my bad.
No, that's fine. For sure. No, don't apologize for
that. When this person, the person that's under him, does something that he shouldn't have done. Mm-hmm. Now, does she hold him accountable for holding him accountable? If he doesn't,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah, but that's part of that. Right. That's part of that position.
Okay,
because you go back to look at what happened with the with the other case in Minnesota. My man, the police chief got on camera and said, "Hey, I believe what she did was an accident." Oh,
you're talking about Brooklyn Center. Okay, yeah.
That he heard her scream out, "Taser, taser, taser."
Yeah, I remember.
Now, he should not have done that. He should have just basically said, "Listen, we are as a police force, we're looking into the situation." And what he did was he made a comment to try to basically steer people to no, this was not like a hate crime or anything like that. Yeah. This was something that was accidental.
Right.
The problem that he had is that you're talking about somebody who's been on the force. I believe she's like
25, 26 years.
Yeah, 26 years, and she was one of the trainers.
Yeah, she's like the president of the police union.
And she's the president of the police union.
Yeah.
So him doing that, he had no choice but to step down from that position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because the union told him. I mean, and the union may have told him, but the politicians told him, "Hey, you got to fall on the sword." I was like,
absolutely. Absolutely, local politicians told him that.
You know what I'm saying? Because somebody got to follow the sword when this shit go left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
saying?
Yeah. And these politicians who's got their cushy job, they're not going to do it because they want a re-election. Mm. You know what I'm saying? And that's like Joe Biden is, and I commend him for this. He's trying to put out some type of, there's a bill in the Senate, I believe, that they're trying to make it easier for police to be charged with these crimes versus having to go through all this BS.
Because I want to say New York already took that away from they're trying to take that away from the police officers, so that they will and they can be charged.
I don't.
For some of the incidents.
I think Cuomo was behind that. I don't remember what the actual term. No, was it Cuomo? Or was it New York City?
It was New York City.
Yeah, so De Blasio.
Yes, he was behind that. Yes.
Yeah.
So we got some other comments. Somebody called sales rep. And them chiefs and sergeants are training these dumbasses to do this. Okay. When did Suge Knight get out of jail?
Really?
We're talking about Marcus? Listen.
Suge Knight is what?
No, listen, big shout out.
Oh my God.
To the homie Pittsburgh shows over here.
That's funny. Hold on, I think you got a couple more. You got a couple more. That's funny.
And we got Black Hollywood tuning in. Quick stats: 40% of Americans Republicans, 47% Democrats. The other 3% really hurt my feelings if they're a minority. Black facts. Okay, so you said 40% of Americans are Democrats. So
47% of blacks are Democrats, or 47%
Americans. You said Americans. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But when you talk about black folks, the numbers are skewed much higher than 40%, 7%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a sad reality because some Democrats who may not have our best interests at heart, because they're Democrats, they know they're getting some votes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know y'all don't like talking about it.
No, you're right though.
He don't like talking about it.
No, I mean, but the other thing is that just because you're Democrat doesn't mean that, like you said, you may not necessarily have the interest of the people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. So,
but
if you even look at the senators that are currently out there that are Democrats, if you look at West Virginia Senator Manchin, like his.
It's West Virginia though.
It's West Virginia, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like the people that he's like trying to answer for are not your normal Democrat,
right?
So I mean, it's not about having the best intentions for all Democrats. It's for the Democrats or for the people that are in your area,
your constituents,
right? Absolutely. And you gotta think now. Not everybody votes down the line. I mean, and then reality is that you're not when you're campaigning. You're not campaigning like if I'm a Democrat, I'm not really campaigning to get the Democrat vote.
Can you assume you got that vote?
I'm assuming I have that vote. Yeah. The vote I'm trying to get is the independents.
Right.
I want to sway them my way so that they don't go and vote Republican.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You need to take more.
I want
Suge Knight.
Yeah, I know.
They hit them up.
When did Suge get out?
All that said, but literally, politics play a big role in law enforcement. Yeah. Because if you look at the executives in law enforcement, they answer directly to the mayor, the commissioner. You know what I'm saying? They don't answer to, you know what I'm saying, the local. They're not coming up to our doorstep and ask us how we feel about how we police in your neighborhood. Right. You know what I'm saying? They answer to the top dogs in the political arena. So that's why we got to make sure that we keep somebody in there that at least listen. So they may not be able to do what we want to do. They need to at least listen to us.
So now that we have those charges, where do we go from there?
Well, the next thing is, finding out how long he's going to be in jail. Is he going to get the maximum sentence? Because he wasn't a criminal to begin with. Right. Criminal. So, if he was, let's just say, I don't know the exact math,
he
right?
He wasn't charged with a crime to begin with. He was a criminal for a long time.
No, that's not what I mean. No, but that's not what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was convicted and you was trial, you would get like 40 years, but because he wasn't, you would get like 20 or something like that.
I mean, to think that he's going to get the maximum for all three charges.
That's like 8 years.
I don't believe that's going to happen. You're talking about
they're going to run the concurrent. So
right. I mean, you're talking about a police officer. So I mean, absolutely. He'll probably get the minimum for each of the three or whatever. And to DP's point, they probably won't concur with each other.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So you think the people care about how many years he gets?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, you think they were more concerned of him being convicted and
Well, I think
years he get? You understand the question I'm asking?
Yeah. I think it's two parts.
Okay.
That yes, they did care about if he was convicted.
Right.
And then they also want him to get some years.
They're going to care about how he's going to be punished.
Years, yes. They don't want to sit there and say, okay, he got convicted of these 3, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, yeah, he only get 7 years.
Yeah. Because to me that was important. Both things was important. And then him getting at least a decent amount of time based on him being a police officer that they are liable.
No question.
This is only the first part.
This is only the first part.
This is only the first part.
Okay.
Black folks still need some closure to this thing, and that's going to be that time that the judge hands out. But at the same token,
listen, just about as much as everybody was watching that case today to figure out what he would, if he was going to be convicted of the 3 counts, they're going to be watching to see how long he gets.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just that's important.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be tuned in for that.
And again, it's gonna be a politically driven, because if he gets something small, the city's still gonna burn. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think so. If he get 5, I think what's at least 7 or something like that years, 5, 10 years. If he gets something like that, they're gonna be like, you mean to tell me you catch him on camera and you gonna give him
trust Dav on this one when he looks it up.
What I read earlier, and I'm gonna find it, was for the 2nd degree and 3rd degree murders. I think it was around like 12.5 to 15 years max for what he can get.
Max.
Right.
I thought it was more than that.
and I'm gonna verify that, but I don't know if it was. But then it wasn't an exorbitant amount. Put it that way.
Okay.
Right, and then the same for manslaughter. It was around like mid to high teens or something like that. But it wasn't like, because he was convicted on all 3 counts, they was going to give him like life. It wasn't one of those things.
Right. I didn't even expect him to get life.
And that you
no, I don't expect him to get life. I mean, it would be different if he was like a hardcore criminal and then he got arrested and convicted for these 3 charges. But him being a police officer, I don't.
And now you take this, and you compare this to a young black man getting caught with crack cocaine, especially in South Carolina. You getting 20, 30 years.
Oh, we all know that that stuff doesn't add up.
You take a whole life on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, you look at it back when they changed the crack laws, where you can get a white dealer who had, say maybe an ounce of coke compared to
Clinton a part of that.
I'm not going to say I can't remember what president was a part of putting that in, but I mean it did get put in.
So that's the thing. Shout out to Black, because that's what I was thinking too from what I read.
On top of everything.
So the max.
He got the new MBA degree, so you know what I'm saying. He got to put that to work. You know
why are you diminishing that, yo? Congratulations.
I'm saying that. That's what
right, man. Like, damn. Why? Anyway, so the max, like for 2nd degree, is like 10 years.
Okay.
Right. So this is what we're talking about.
So the max for 2nd degree murder is 10 years.
Yeah, it was 10 years. Because he wasn't a convicted felon when he got found guilty. Had he been a convicted felon already, it would have been more.
I mean,
what's the thing me and you were talking about also earlier is that, to be honest, I wouldn't have went to a jury trial if I was him.
Well, here's the thing, right? He tried to actually plead out before he went to trial. He tried to plead out for 3rd degree manslaughter. I mean, he tried to plead out, I think, for 3rd degree either manslaughter or 3rd degree murder. But what happened was William Barr, before he left office, stepped in and was like, nah, because people are going to look at that and it could be a lesser charge. Like, he needs to go to trial.
Right.
But see, but even if he went to trial, I wouldn't have went to a jury trial. I would have rather went to a judge trial. Because everything would have been straight law.
But he can't request that?
No, he can't. He could have requested that in the beginning.
Judge can deny him.
I don't know if you can deny it, but you get a choice.
He got a choice. So you think he chose a jury trial?
Yeah, he chose a jury trial.
You needed one jury.
That's all you need is one jury.
So maybe his lawyer just chose that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Not him.
No, he gets a choice. It's his choice.
Maybe his lawyer suggested that you.
Well, his lawyer could have suggested it, but he didn't choose it.
Because he got
Yeah, your mother-in-law is on here.
Yeah, I saw her earlier.
With all the knowledge you guys have, you need to use it for educating our young guys. That's what's up. That's some smart brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to mom.
Nixon was the first president with mandatory minimum sentencing. Say the NBA, so when you get the NBA, you rattle it right up. Like,
yo, man, he's just a part of the show, man. He's just interacting.
He's giving us more information. That's all.
That's what's up, Black.
He got a brand new NBA.
So wait, he wouldn't be able to give that information if he didn't have the NBA?
No, once he got the NBA, it came.
It'd be your friends,
your own people.
It'd be your own people who
I'm proud of it. I'm proud.
So look, man, before we wrap up, we've been on for a good minute, which is great. I mean, the conversation is dope. What are some of the parting shots you guys want to give to the people before we go to that? Go ahead, DP first.
Yo, man, talk to your young black kids, man. Tell them they out. Just obey whatever the police say, because it's more important to make it home than to prove a point. You know what I'm saying? It's a sad conversation that you shouldn't even have to have, but because the reality of our country and the way some people think, you know what I'm saying, just make sure you do that. You know what I'm saying? We can deal with whatever else tomorrow, but today, and coming home is the most important thing.
Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with all of us being black men, some of us having black sons, and they probably gonna have black sons. We just need to make sure we educate everybody on the right things and the wrong things to do, and just build from what we accomplished today as a people, not just black people, but everybody as a whole. So much respect.
I guess the biggest thing is especially with us having black children, whether boy or girl, the biggest thing is for them to come home.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I would rather you listen to the officer and really just be like on some yes sir, no sir type situation where I can still be able to see your face in the morning.
Yeah.
And then not to.
Yeah. Dope. I think all those things is what you said. I would agree with. The only thing that I would probably add to that is that, as a man and as just you going out here in these streets, you can control what you can control, right? So, you can't control how other people are going about their day, but you can control how you react, respond, and dictate things. So just be mindful of that, and always understand that you are an example for the people who are at home who wants to see you come back. So with that, one more thing, Curb, you are right. It is 40 years, but I think that has everything to do with if you was already a convicted felon, you would get the maximum 40. I don't know if that's true for when you have not been convicted of something before, but everybody do their research, so everybody can have the right information. Just don't go off of what we're saying. So with that being said, thank you all for watching, the real ones. We appreciate that.
Next week we'll have the part 1 of the real estate session that we just gonna give you guys all the information for free that the gurus charge you for.
DP wants to make sure that he emphasizes that. We may have our brothers even come back, man. This was a great session. So don't be surprised as they come back just to kind of learn and get the free game on the real estate side of things too. Subscribe to all of our pages. We are on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on IG. Also, again, follow us look at our website, independentcapitalatl.com. Again, it's independentcapitalatl.com. For DP, Trav, and Mark, I'm Dev, and in everything that you do with positivity, creativity, and authenticity. This is Real Talk with DP and Dev. Peace, beautiful people.
Peace.